Am I live? I don't know. Can't tell. I'm not even here to contest anything that they got going. I don't even know how it's set up, structured, whatever. I didn't even set stuff up right, I guess. I'm using the format I never really use no more on YouTube, unless I'm doing a live stream from my phone, which I rarely do anymore on the Carceno for Life channel. Let's get to the gist of what this truly is about. Because I keep getting asked this question a lot. Somebody said they haven't seen me on Rope-A-Dope or heard me on Rope-A-Dope radio in a while. And that's only because certain days, I don't know if they're going to be doing it at a certain time. Is it on Tuesday? Is it not? I would love to catch it and I'm not busy. It's just that now my days are so busy, it's hard for me to make it. But I'll try to make it. And I try to remember this show is going on. And sometimes I do make it, I'll be ready, and then the show ain't happening that day. So I never really know what's going on. So yeah, boxing is my lane. Everything I do is my lane. That's what y'all don't know. Movies are my lane. TV shows is my lane. Business is my lane. I have a lot of lanes that I get revenue from. Now, here's my problem with the sport. It's too much bullshit. It's too much bullshit. It's too much. Nobody can get anything done anymore. Every time they try to make a fight, they can't make the fight. And then on top of that, they're not doing what they're supposed to do to make that fight great. How is a fight supposed to work if guys are not locked in? How? Where does that make sense? When have you not seen two fighters? Every time I saw Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia have this big melee at the Super Bowl, they stay on first take. Now it's like the fight might not happen because Ryan Garcia has a mental problem. He's always had mental problems. When does that ever stop the fight? When the fight is made, we all sitting there wondering if Ryan Garcia is going to try to get out of the fight. He's doing everything he can to try to get out of the fight. Then let's stop this right now while it's headed in its tracks right now. You got Adrian Broner going up there beefing with Alicia Baumgartner when he's really mad at Bill Haney for whatever the reason may be. And I hate this part of the game so much. And this is the part that sucks so much about the game, is that they always have these, this spirit of the moment, or this flash in the pans new trainer that comes up out of nowhere, and now they're the big guy on campus, and now they have the secret sauce to make the great champion. This is the guy. Now it's Bill Haney. Bill Haney's now the new guy. Now all the boxing media want to go interview him. Out of nowhere. Now he's the guy. And you know what happened to these trainers? Their eyes get too bright. They see stars. They see all the flashes of the camera, and it starts to affect their brain cells. And they start thinking they bigger than what the hell they really are. Bill Haney, you're not fighting in the ring. You're not. Stop it. I saw the same thing with Billy Hunter. I seen the same thing with Robert Garcia. I seen the same thing with Freddie Roach, Virgil Hunter. They make all these guys the main guy, the main character. They all prisoners of the moment. They come and then they go. They fighters get beat or whatever. Then next thing you know, everybody's looking at them. Derrick James was that guy. Everybody's running to Derrick James. He's got all the undefeated fighters, man. Derrick James is the guy. Now they're getting smoked. Nobody's talking about Derrick James no more. So Bill Haney, they only talking about you because Devin don't have an L, which he already took when he lost to Lomachenko, but they just didn't give it to him. You didn't do anything to help Devin in that fight, did you? But hey, it's neither here nor there, right? Everybody has their moment. So this your spotlight, you go ahead and take it. They didn't want to give this spotlight to who? Terrence Crawford's trainer. Oh my God. Red them didn't get no credit. They just whooped everybody, knocked everybody out at welterweight. Man got the longest knockout streak going. And he's a welterweight, knocking everybody out. They are not even going to the cards. Every fight at welterweight, a weight class that's not his, knocked them all out. And we in the boxing world are not even championing him. Where the hell does that make sense? He beat the guy who y'all claim was #1 in the world. He embarrassed him. Embarrassed him. He made him look worse than any guy y'all ever said was a bum and a tune-up. He made him look worse than them. He did everything he said he was going to do to him when they met. Did he not? Did he not? But do they mention his trainers? Do they mention the advice, the great advice his trainers was giving him in the corner? You don't hear nothing about Bomac like that. Only when the fight's going on do you hear about Bomac. You hear about Bomac right now? Why wouldn't you hear about Bomac? Why wouldn't you hear about what Red was doing? Why they don't mention these guys? What's the conspiracy behind that? Wish I knew. They don't impress me. That's the problem. This is not impressing me one bit. No, they don't mention Tank's trainers. They don't mention anything about Tank's trainers. They pick who they want, and that's the problem. They spend too much time on social media making fights that never happen. Because everybody wants to be a self-promoter. Now everybody is so glued to social media. None of the trainers that was great had social media. They didn't. So if they had a social media page, it wasn't them, some nephew or somebody else was running it. They didn't have time to do that. They were training and doing that. They wasn't caring about no social media. Now you see these people like Bill Haney, they want to make these speeches and call out Floyd Mayweather. They doing all this extra crap to try to sell and be all flamboyant and out there. All you're doing is embarrassing yourself. And you confuse the casual fan. They're not worried about us. I tell everybody that in the boxing world today, all the people that cover it from every sport, everywhere around the globe, I say, look, they're not worried about us. They know we gonna watch the fights regardless. They don't care about us. They care about the casuals, the people that's gonna want to go get the fights. They want your job is to go and advertise these fights to these people. That's our jobs, is to make these people that's casuals say, hey, there's a fight going on here. You might want to check this out. That we all bring in about 100, 200, or maybe more to the fight. So they're not worried about you and what you like. They're trying to find out what those casuals like. So that's why you got fights like Rolly and Pitbull. And Rolly's got a belt. Because it's like, well, hell, eat him. We're going to say, who the hell did Rolly beat to get a belt? He beat a 40-year-old journeyman who he really lost to? And you gave him a belt for that? How would he get a belt? The casual going to say, hey, we got a fight on the line. We got this Romero and this Pitbull fighting for the title. They don't even know what the hell title it is. They're going to watch it and see a fight. This is why Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia made money. To a boxing fan, that fight should have never been made. That is a YouTube fighter versus a professional fighter. That's like a showcase fight. But it made money on the pay-per-view because people wanted to pay money to see it. He's got all these followers on social media. So it made money. So it's no longer about rankings and systems. And now you got showcase fights being pay-per-view fights. So now you can't scale this business no more. How I would be damned to be a promoter, because how you going to promote these egos now when they were like, look, I got my social media popping, so I think I need 3 million. It's like, well, can you get your 3 million fans on Facebook to come over to the fight and buy some 3 million tickets? If not, all I'm paying you is this. You see, this is the problem that we got here right now. Now you got crap like Adrian Broner talking about Bumgarner and all the people she's sleeping with. Like, what the fuck? She's a female fighter. Like, what dog do you even have with that? If you got a problem with Bill Haney, then take it up with Bill Haney. You ain't even fighting. I mean, that's the thing. You're not even fighting no more, AB. I can see if you in the gym, it's like every day I see you. You used to be the fly, flashy dude with the waves and all that. Now you like this Ninja Turtle dude who ain't shaved and just wild as hell. Look like you about 300 pounds. I told him, I'm like, you're going to end up being like your daddy. You and your daddy going to be about the same. You and your daddy going to be the same size. Y'all the same height. When you get through fighting, you're going to blow up, be just like Pops. Bad habits. It's irritating. The heavyweight division, what's going on with that? Tyson Fury, he's fighting people just for money. Right? He's supposed to fight the other guy who was the light heavyweight champion, who moved up to heavyweight, who kept whooping on doggone Anthony Joshua. So they kept him whooping on Joshua. So now he's supposed to fight him finally. But he had to fight Ngannou first, and now Ngannou's going to fight Joshua. For what? Money. UFC fighter. Because there's no more rules, no more rankings. You might as well get rid of them. They don't mean anything anymore. Everybody can just put their showcase fight on, put it out there on pay-per-view, get their money. The promoters ain't gonna mind because they don't have to put no risk. The risk is like, hey, whatever the pay-per-view is, that's your money. So that's cool with me. I ain't got to risk taking a loss. Yeah, Usyk. I mean, the thing about it is Tyson Fury is going to beat Usyk, and everybody's going to be like, "Oh man, this is not what I thought it was going to be." Yeah, because Usyk hasn't fought a guy with a consistent jab, with movement, and he's just going to catch him, and the size is going to be too great. And then you're going to start to see what we already know. There's a reason you were at light heavyweight. They were like, well, Sino, you can't take, if you're going to get $40 million fighting this guy and he's not even skilled or talented, what you want to do? Fight a tough fight and get 20 million, or fight 40 million and fight a guy who could barely fight? I'm like, look, man, y'all asked me to do a boxing video. That's what y'all did. So on my sick bed, I was getting all these boxing questions. And I said, I'm going to get up and give y'all boxing tonight. All y'all boxing questions are being answered today. Okay? And this is going back for months. One question I get the most of now. The most I get. Why I don't talk about boxing anymore like I used to. Well, I thought this whole video would clearly explain that. But let me explain why I don't. Not for my dislove of the sport. It's because I love the sport. I just don't like the bullshit. And it's so much politics. It's worse than anything you've ever seen. You think all this other stuff is something? Whew, wait till after this ad. Now, here's the thing. Okay, we ready? All right, now, here's the thing. Here's the news. Why I wanted to make sure everybody was back from the ad. I saw they was going to run an ad, so I'm like, all right. Now we good. Now, here's the thing. When we were doing boxing, we have a boxing website that's up now. It's called boxingandbasketball.com. So if you want to check it out, the name is switched from Boxing Socialist to boxingandbasketball.com. Not my choice. But me and Sean both own the website. Now, that's still going today. It's consistent. Just got updated the other day. So as you can see, we are still active. Now, when everybody was in this war, well, in the war, what actually meant like in the boxing game, all the media kept fighting with one another. And that's what made it crazy. Everybody was jockeying for position. Everybody had to have a piece of Floyd Mayweather. And when you are cool with the best fighter in the game, right? You got no problems with anybody, but you are cool with the best fighter in the game. That don't normally fly. Hmm. That is quite interesting. I'm learning something about our own website. As I look directly at it. Now, that's what the website is today. Sean decided to change it to boxing and basketball. But my thing was this: when we were boxingsocialist.com, none of this stuff mattered. Okay. We were one of the top websites for boxing there was. We had an exclusive interview with a lot of people. We had our own identity. We still have media credentials to this day that we can get for almost any boxing. We still hire writers to go out and cover the events. So it's not like we're out of the sport of boxing. They just promote it on their page. The Carceno for Life page just don't really cover the sport that much. If it's a big fight, I might speak on it or give my prediction on it as other people would do it. But I really gotten out of the sport because I've been doing other things. Like I've been focused more on my channel with the hip hop stories and more of this because mainly it's more lucrative. That's one. Two, boxing just really rubbed me the wrong way with all the ego, all the BS. And I definitely was like, I ain't getting paid for this. Like the BS that I got to put up with to get no money is like, are you crazy? You're spending your own money. Let me let that people know something too. You're spending your own money to do all of this. You got to really love it. Okay? You got to really love this shit. So if you're doing this, you got to be spending your money. So when you do get some money coming in, it's like a celebration. It is. When you get money, it's a celebration. Because you're like, good, I get some of the money back to cover the money I've spent, which was way more than what the money I got coming back in. But I'm just happy to have some money coming back. But I love the sport. Then you get the ungratefuls. Can't forget the ungratefuls. Oh, yeah, the ungratefuls. Tank will knock Frank Martin in the next week. Now, here's the thing. The ungratefuls. Who are the ungratefuls? The ungratefuls are the fighters that you go out of your way to interview to try to get hits and views on your platform. You see, back then, boxing is such an anomaly of a sport. No real media pundits ever really cover boxing. They just don't care. So if they don't care about it, they're not going to put their 2 feet down. They're not going to say anything about it. That's why anybody can be a part of boxing. They don't care. They will let anybody, they will have a dog with a camera phone on it and do an interview. Anybody that would sell and push out to the rest of the world that they got to fight. Now, the problem is doing interviews with these people. You know that you need to interview the fighters. It helps your channel. You helps them. Y'all both correspond. The media got greedy and selfish and stupid. And so did the promoters. The promoters is like, why are we giving these guys credentials and they're not doing anything? They're showing up here to take selfies with the fighters. And this is what De La Hoya was complaining about, because they let the wrong people, they just let anybody into the game. And then you start seeing these people that was all on your side jumping on your bandwagon. Yeah, man, you're the man. Cito's the man. He knows what he's talking about. All because they want the spot. They want to get up there so they can smooth with everybody and rub shoulders with these guys. And then when they do that, now they want to talk like they the experts when they used to steal our work that we used to have on the website and make their videos off of our work as soon as we post it. Like I would just hit the button to upload it. 50 seconds later, here comes a video about my article. I'm like, dude, I just spent an hour and a half typing this. Dude, let me shine first before you even just come in here and try to just rape my entire interview and everything. Chill out, homie. And yes, that was Boxing Ego who was doing that. So it was a lot of controversy going on at the time. And I'm like, dog, I don't want it as bad as y'all do. Like, y'all really want this because they never been around anything. These guys were like celebrities to them. They were the guys they watched on TV. So now when they get a chance to get on the internet and get around these guys, they turn into fanboys. And that's the worst, is you're surrounded by so many fanboys. And they're just everywhere in the media now. And they got credentials. They can go anywhere. Now they fit. Now you just giving the fanboy the key to the city. Can you imagine if the NBA had LeBron James fans in the sports media? You think the sports media now is jacked up? Can you imagine a whole room full of LeBron fanboys asking him questions after the game? What's it like being the greatest player to ever play? How do you make it look so easy? You're just so dynamite. That one play you had in the first quarter, you remember that? When you just took the ball and took up, man, that was incredible. Is there a question? Oh, no, it was just saying. I just want to say it was incredible. You know, if you look at all these fanboys that they put in these positions, why are they there? Bomac will never get the credit he deserved. Terrence Crawford will never get the credit he deserved. Why is that? Because we in there have a bunch of fanboys that's in the sports media. It's tampered, it's jacked up. They don't know the sport. They just fanboys. So they were fanboys for Errol Spence Jr. And because they were fanboys, they can't even say, okay, he lost. They got to come up with every excuse in the book for why he lost. Instead of championing the real guy, you had the best fighting the best, right? And then the best won. Instead of championing him and said, okay, Errol, you got to bounce back in the rematch and you got to make some changes and do this and that. You want to tear down the guy who won, fair and square. You want to tear down all the work he's did just because you didn't like the outcome, because you're a fanboy and you don't understand the sport of boxing. And you were wrong. Can't be wrong. Can't be wrong these days. So that's when I started to gravitate away. I'm like, man, it's nothing really. This game is so dead to me. It's not because Floyd left. We was talking about fights way after Floyd was done. This is many years done. Like Floyd has been done since the McGregor fight was like 2018. We still was covering box, but the passion was gone. Like the whole fire to keep that stuff was dying. I'll sit there and watch some fights. I love it, but I'm not. It's the all the BS that's surrounded by it. Because everybody thinks you work for them because they think you're just like the rest of the fanboys. So if you try to give it an interview, you try to do this and do that, and I'm just like, I'm not even in the same breath with a lot of these people, especially if you're somebody who really knows the game of boxing, knows how sports media work, really took this seriously, really went out and did interviews, talked to promoters, talked to these guys, instead of being a hack, actually took your job seriously and went out there and used your skills of interviewing and what you've done to actually get some information from the person that would actually be useful, that would actually be knowledgeable, that the people that love boxing could hear it and say, okay, well, those were the questions I wanted to ask. I'm glad you asked those questions. Now, when was the day I walked away and just said, I'm done? I don't think it was a day. And I don't think I was done. I think I was just done with dealing with like interviewing like fighters, like chasing down the interviews, doing all that stuff. I'm just like, that stuff is so hard work because y'all don't understand. Fighters are like, if they're in fight mode, they're in a training camp. So they're in a weight loss camp. They don't have time to sit around and talk to you for 20, 30 minutes. They don't have time. So you're calling them, basically cold calling. They don't have an assistant. So many of them don't. And they want to answer their own phones. And then they'll say, hey, yeah, tomorrow's my down day. So hit me around 4. I should be in the house. I do my run. I'll be back. I'll be relaxing then. So yeah, I'll give you 20 minutes. Now, you have some fighters that would keep that schedule, but a lot of the times that 4 o'clock come. Now, what you've done is clear everything on your schedule for the day. You made sure you had the time allotted that they wanted. You made sure you crossed every T, dotted every I, and you had everything done the way it was supposed to be done. Right? And what happened? Oh, they don't call. Then you track them down and you can't get them on the phone. What's worse is when you have a live show and you're trying to say, okay, we got a special guest tonight and we're finna bring them on the show, then they don't show up on the show. I've seen my buddy go through that countless nights on his show. And it pissed him off because he's a professional. Joe Abib is a perfectionist too. If they don't go his way, he's really gonna have a fit. So when that didn't go the way it should have went, there was a reason why. Now, the nature of the beast. Nah, they didn't want that. You see what everybody else claim they want, they never get. People complain and they bitch about it, but then at the end of the day, they go along with it. I know it's a big problem. That's what's wrong with the game right now. It's a lot of that dumb shit going on. No, the problem is you have a lot of people that are interfering with all of the things that should not be touched or interfered with. If you don't understand hip hop, you don't talk about hip hop. They don't do that with the hip hop world, right? Well, now they kind of do, but it's at a different level. See, before you had to know something about hip hop, right? You had to know something about hip. You couldn't just come through the door and start talking about hip hop. I didn't just come through the door talking about hip hop. I had to know what the hell I was talking about. You see, that was the difference. I didn't just waltz in here and say, hey, man, I'm getting a lot of views. I'm going to just talk about stuff I don't know about. No, everything that I was saying was true. That's that is the sticking point. Because believe me, you'll fade out real quick once everybody know you're just lying and making up lies for views. That would have been exposed. Of course, theory beats usage. Now, the thing is that yeah, most fighters they'll get busy. Things happen in a day. They have things they gotta do, but it's just so much work you gotta go through because they don't care about what you had to do in the day. Then out of the blue, a fighter will call you and just act like you work for them and be like, yo, I want to say something about this. Yeah, I'm ready to do an interview. Right now, I want to say something. Are you going to be available in the next 20, 30 minutes? You'll be at work somewhere or your job or something. And like, oh man, I'm not even at the crib. I would have loved to get this. Then they'll be like, oh, okay, I'll wait till you get off. Next thing you know, they'll call somebody else and give it to them. After they told you they were going to give it to you. So the fighters don't have any loyalty towards you. Seriously, they don't. So it's a whole dirty game. And then you got other websites that's hating on you behind the scenes, trying to tell other fighters not to deal with you. It's just so dumb. It's like the game is big enough for everybody to eat. And you see the same ignorance on YouTube. It's like, dude, do you know how many people on YouTube there are? People act like, oh, that guy got 2,000 people watching him. Ain't no more people in the world to watch him. He got all the views. I got to wait till it stops. Your subscribers and viewers are yours. That don't have nothing to do with anybody else. Do you? Well, the game is I always root for the younger guys. So if I do an interview with somebody now from the boxing world, they call me, I'm be like, yo, man, I want to do an interview. I'm doing this. I'm coming out. I do that for them. You know, I'll be like, man, I respect you. You trying to come out. You know, I've always supported you from the jump. Yeah, I'll interview you. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do it. Chop it up. See what's good with you. Yeah, I mean, that's because I'm righteously love the sport of boxing. Love it. Love knowing something and being right about it. But it's so much BS and politics that's going on behind the scenes that it takes all it drains you from your energy. So many fights that's supposed to be made that's not made, and it's just for no reason at all. Title fights being drug out. You know, we should have been had Wilder and Joshua. We didn't get that. We didn't get any of the things that we were supposed to get because everybody wants to be their own self-promoter. Who would win between Charlo and Terrence Crawford? Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford would beat him any day of the week. Any last one of the Charlos and they daddy. Don't matter. Beat their cousins, all of them. Bud Crawford whoops them all. Floyd in his prime, Bud in his prime. Who you got winning? Floyd Mayweather wins. I don't see Floyd losing. Do I think Hagler beat Ray Leonard? Yes. I think Marvelous Marvin Hagler won the fight. I've had this discussion with Roger Mayweather up and down who believes Sugar Ray Leonard won the fight. Who is the greatest trainer of all time? It's hard to say. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, who's the trainer for Sugar Ray Robinson? Who's the trainer of Jack Johnson? So it's hard to say who's the greatest trainer of all time. In today's game now, in modern training, I mean, it's got to be Bomac, right? Why people don't give Canelo any credit? Well, people don't give Canelo credit because they don't want to give Canelo credit. Okay? Canelo's already fought all of the tough fights y'all wanted him to fight. Canelo done got about 80, 90 fights, all right? So he was the only one fighting three times a year when he had that deal. Like Canelo did like 3 fights in a year. His body was sore as hell. He couldn't fight no more. So when he went up to 175 or whatever to fight Bivol, that was a fight he had no business being in. Bivol is too skilled and too talented for him at that weight class. And I knew he was going to say, I want the rematch with Bivol, but I knew he wasn't going to take it. His team wasn't going to let that happen. No sirree. No, that ain't letting that happen. Bomac over Calvin. So what has Calvin done? What has Calvin done? Tell me. What has Calvin done? Tank beats Devin. What did Calvin do? He hasn't done the same as Bomac. Now, he's talking about Tank Davis's trainer versus Bomac for the CASH, who was Terrence Crawford's trainer. Who does Tank Davis just fight last? What was Tank Davis's last fight? What was Tank Davis's last fight? Ryan Garcia. What was Terrence Crawford's last fight? We'll keep it real simple. Errol Spence Jr., right? Why are we talking about Calvin? Over Bomac and saying he did the same thing. You really think that's the same ballpark? Come on now. I like Tank, but Tank beat Rolly and Ryan Garcia. When he should have been fighting the best in the division. He was going for the money. He was undefeated. How was he washed up and he's undefeated? He's a washed up, undefeated fighter. Okay. That's new. See how you doing what they doing? Fanboyism. Fanboyism. Skills pay the bills. Unfocused Spence. Why wouldn't he be focused? It's the biggest fight of his life. Why wouldn't he be focused? No, he got knocked out of focus. That's why he went down. Bud or Canelo? Terrence Crawford wins that fight. And Canelo knows it too. If Mike Tyson was to come back and fight Tyson Fury, could he win? He wouldn't get a knockout, but prime Mike Tyson would have gotten a decision win. But he wouldn't have knocked out Tyson Fury. Well, if others wanted to do that, they could follow suit, but I don't see it really happening. Get Shakur Stevenson on the show. I don't even want to pursue that either. Like I told y'all, I'm not trying to go down that road to be back doing that. You know, if a fighter reach out to me and say he want to go on the show, that's cool. But other than that, I'm not thinking about interviewing fighters. Man, Roy is another one that's hard to get. And we love Roy. We be like, hey, what's up, Roy? Hey, man, what's going on, man? Pensacola in the house. Just like I told you, man. I told you. Man, I told you, Cino, man, if you want to go on and interview me, man, you can, man. Let me go on and feed my dogs. I'll be right back. And then he'll go out there and feed his dogs. And then he'll come back later and then forget everything and you won't even hear from Roy Jones no more. It's just what it is. I mean, I don't know what AB's trying to do. Like, I really don't. With Alicia Baumgartner and name it like, oh, she for the streets. We got it on tape. She can't ride stick. And like, why are you putting her business out? Like, what? I don't understand where the beef come from if you got a problem with Bill Haney. If Bill Haney is who you got a problem with, you should be taking stuff up with Bill Haney. What you attacking her for? That's my whole thing. I'm just trying to figure it out. Make it make sense on my end. Ryan Garcia can't beat Devin Haney. He knows that. He's going to do all he can to get out of this fight. He's going to get it postponed. It's going to be all kind of nonsense. That's what you expect when you're dealing with a person such as him. Tank knocks out Devin Haney. And if he don't get the knockout, he would at least put him on the canvas. Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, and Tank Davis. Tank is the only one that can hit. The rest of those dudes have no power. Yes, sir. Yes, we do. We love the game. We love boxing. But it's the BS and politics we don't like. That's all. Just too much of it. By lower tier media. That's what makes it even worse when it's lower tier. But anyway, let me get up out of here. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Deuces. Have a good night. Blessed night. Because everybody around here don't seem to understand how the format goes. Oh, yeah. Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather rematch. Let me answer that for y'all. A Mayweather-Pacquiao rematch. Okay. A Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao rematch. How would that go? Well, Manny Pacquiao first would be in a situation that he's slower. So he don't have any bounce anymore on his step. And you saw that in his last pro fight he ever had. His legs are gone. So he can't do the bounce, the Manny Pacquiao bounce. That's gone. So the balance is gone. Now he's just flat-footed Manny. He's just doing that. So now you have an even worse version of Manny Pacquiao with a Floyd Mayweather who could still move around the ring and fight going backwards and still has a skill set to fall back on. Manny Pacquiao don't have a prayer. So, no, he will never beat Floyd Mayweather. So, well, thank you, man. Darren, I am getting better. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting better. Deuces.